Over the years, I've continuously argued for more investment in our north. Northern Australia produces so much of our nation's wealth, but decision makers live much further south. So the mantra of take the money and run seems to be the view of too many pollies, even those who love a far North Queensland holiday. Now, the mess left behind by tropical cyclone Jasper last week included the flooding of roads, rail, homes. For Port Douglas, that magnificent tourist town, it was a case of water everywhere, not a drop to drink. The town, you see, ran out of drinking water for 4 days. Douglas Shire Mayor Michael Kerr joins us from magnificent Port Douglas. Mr Mayor, thank you so much for your leadership during these very, very difficult times. What's the latest on the ground there?
Well, we are open at least. We managed to get our water flowing through to Port Douglas, but we just can't get a trick right at the moment. We've gone from having way too much water to we just can't get enough water. So because of all the landslides that have happened throughout the regional area, there's a lot of turbidity in the water and a lot of muck that's in there, and the filtration system's having a really hard time getting enough water into Douglas for what we need for our residents. So we've put an urgent alert out for a restriction 4 and asking residents to just use what you need to, just leave it. Don't worry about hosing at the moment. Leave the, all those things you'd like to do aside so we can just get the water right to make sure we can flush the toilet. We've got drinking water, we've got eating water, and of course our restaurants can stay open for the period right over this Christmas break.
Yeah, we can all make a little difference for you and your community by booking a trip there. I get that, and so we should, because, only if you need us, we'll be there kind of thing. But there's been some pretty extraordinary stories still emerging from your part of the world, including how a couple held onto a tree for 12 hours as the floodwaters tried to sweep them away. Just amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of water that we had, like 2.5 metres worth of water came through this region in a few days, so you can imagine the amount of damage that it's done. And, I went for a flight up on a helicopter to the Daintree region, and to see Dagara, for example, where you've got more just concrete slabs left where houses used to be than you've got houses. It's incredible sights to see, and it's going to take a long time for the businesses, especially across the river, to recuperate. And this is why we're looking at the state and federal government for more support as far as our businesses go, because it's very unlikely that a lot of the businesses across the river are going to be open yet for quite a few weeks to come. They were shut for 2 weeks. All the Port Douglas was closed for around 2 weeks with the cyclone, the no power, then the no water. We really need help as we're going into the quieter season after this Christmas burst.
I mean, this is a very big recovery task. Look, I must say, I'm based in Brisbane, so you're as far from me as, say, Hobart is. People don't understand how big Queensland is, but when a storm like this hits and you know that people living in a first world country are having third world problems like, water and so forth, I ask the question, why aren't we investing more in the north? I'm sure you've got a few answers.
I tell you, I say exactly the same thing. It is so important that we invest in our water infrastructure, especially in the regional areas, and it's something that we're certainly pushing for. And I'm also the chair of the Far North Queensland Organisation of Councils, which has got 11 councils up here. Between us, I can easily spend $300 million in the next couple of years just to ensure we're still supplying water to our residents. So it's money that's certainly well needed. And, as we're moving forward, we've got to be able to get resilience into the system as well. So when events like this happen, we're on the front foot.
Well, let me promise you, we will not forget what's happening at Far North Queensland. I, for the life of me, do not understand why the Captain Cook Highway, which is Highway 1 to Port Douglas, gets cut. Things are not built as well as they could be, should be, especially for the tourists, people who don't know the region well, who are travelling on roads that can be good in good weather, but can't be necessarily guaranteed to always be open in this sort of weather. We need to invest in your region.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I was once asked, what do I want out of the Olympic Games for my region? And that is for one of the tourists not to be killed on one of my roads. So we absolutely need to have money put into the regional areas for roads, for water infrastructure, for sewerage. We've had a massive inundation of people come up to this way after COVID. And we've got to be able to look after them properly. Tourists as well love coming to this region, and we've got to make sure we've got the infrastructure here that keeps them safe, keeps going the whole time. And I have to say one thing at the moment, the Captain Cook Highway is closed, yes, but it gives you the added advantage of getting through Mareeba. And Mareeba is the tropical fruit capital of far north Queensland. So if you are coming up this way and you're going to drive, head up to Mareeba. Make sure you stop at the chocolate factory as well. There's the waterfall circuit there. There's some lovely things to see. It's certainly not an excuse not to come to Port Douglas just because Captain Cook's closed.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I got to tell you, makes me want to feel like getting in the car and driving for 15 or 16 hours just to check out that chocolate factory. Sounds terrific. Mayor Kerr from the Douglas Shire, thank you so much for your time this evening.